Greetings, fellow explorers of time and space. My name is Aid. Look out at the night sky, each star a sun, each with its own stories. But tonight, our story is here along the banks of the Nile, ancient Egypt, a civilization of awe-inspiring monuments and enduring mysteries. Yet much of what we think we know is incomplete. Today, we're busting the top 5 myths about ancient Egypt. These aren't minor details, they're fundamental misconceptions woven into our culture. So how do we untangle fact from fiction with evidence, archaeology, and a willingness to question what we've been told? Let's embark on this journey together and separate fact from fiction. Our first myth is one of the most enduring images in popular culture. The pyramids rising from the desert, built by slaves driven by whips under the scorching Egyptian sun. This dramatic vision has been cemented by countless movies, books, and even school lessons, painting a picture of endless suffering and forced labor. It's a powerful story, but the real evidence tells a much more complex and surprising story. Archaeologists have uncovered the remains of an entire city near the Great Pyramid. Not a prison camp, but a thriving settlement of skilled workers and craftsmen. These people lived in organized barracks, ate hearty meals of bread and meat, and even received medical care for injuries. Their diet was far better than that of ordinary Egyptians, and evidence of healed bones shows they were cared for, not discarded. Their graves, found close to the pyramids themselves, were filled with grave goods and marked with respect. This honor was reserved for valued members of society, not slaves. Many of these workers were likely farmers who joined the pyramid projects during the annual flooding of the Nile when their fields were underwater. For them, building the pyramids was a form of national service, a way to support their families and their country. They were paid in food, beer, and clothing, and organized into crews with names like the Friends of Khufu or the Drunkards of Menkaure. These teams competed for honor and recognition, and their names are still preserved in ancient graffiti. Building the pyramids was seen as a sacred duty, a chance to serve the gods and the nation, not a punishment. The sense of pride and teamwork was immense, and the project brought together people from all over Egypt. The pharaoh was not just a king, but a living god. Constructing his tomb was believed to help maintain the balance of the universe, ensuring prosperity for all Egyptians. The pyramid project unified the nation, requiring immense skill, careful planning, and the motivation of thousands. It was a feat of engineering and organization that still amazes us today. So where did the myth of slave labor come from? It likely began with Herodotus, a Greek historian who visited Egypt centuries after the pyramids were built. He wrote vivid stories, but he never saw the construction himself. Over time, his tales were repeated, embellished, and eventually accepted as fact by later generations and early Egyptologists. But modern archaeology tells a different story. The evidence shows the pyramid builders were proud, skilled Egyptians, artisans, engineers, and laborers who took part in something far greater than themselves. So when you look at the Great Pyramid, imagine not a scene of misery, but a bustling city of workers, engineers, masons, bakers, and laborers, united by purpose, pride, and belief in their civilization. The pyramids are not monuments to slavery, but to human ingenuity, collective faith, and the extraordinary achievements of a united people. They are wonders built by a nation for their king, their gods, and the universe, a testament to what humanity can accomplish when united by vision and purpose. Next, let's meet Cleopatra, a name that instantly conjures images of ancient Egypt, dazzling power, and endless intrigue. Her story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and film, making her one of the most recognizable figures from the ancient world. But who was the real Cleopatra behind the legend? We often picture her as the quintessential Egyptian queen, draped in gold and ruling from the banks of the Nile. Yet the truth of her ancestry is far more complex and fascinating than the myths suggest. Cleopatra VII was not ethnically Egyptian. She was a descendant of the Greek Macedonian Ptolemaic dynasty, a family that had ruled Egypt for centuries, but whose roots lay far from the sands of the Nile. After Alexander the Great swept through Egypt in 332 BCE, his trusted general Ptolemy claimed the land and established a new Greek dynasty. For nearly 300 years, the Ptolemies ruled Egypt, blending Greek customs with the traditions of their adopted home. Cleopatra was the last of this remarkable line, a dynasty rooted in Macedonia, not in the ancient Egyptian cities of Thebes or Memphis. Her family's legacy was one of foreign rule, ambition, and adaptation. The Ptolemies fiercely protected their Greek heritage, often marrying within their own family and rarely even bothering to learn the Egyptian language. Their court spoke Greek, and their culture remained distinct from that of their subjects. Cleopatra, however, was different. She was the first of her dynasty to learn the Egyptian language, and she embraced local customs and religious traditions. She even presented herself as the living embodiment of the goddess Isis, a powerful symbol to her people. This was political genius. By adopting Egyptian ways and speaking directly to her subjects in their own tongue, Cleopatra forged a deep connection with the people she ruled, strengthening her claim to the throne and legitimizing her authority. She skillfully blended her Greek heritage with Egyptian culture, creating a unique and iconic image that has endured for millennia. Her reign was a true fusion of two worlds reflected in art, architecture, and ceremony. Yet beneath the surface, Cleopatra remained a foreign queen ruling an ancient land. Her ability to adapt, strategize, and reinvent herself was key to her survival in a world of shifting alliances and constant danger. Her story is richer for its complexity: a Greek queen by blood, a Macedonian princess by birth, and the last pharaoh of Egypt by destiny. She was a woman who defied expectations and rewrote the rules of power. In the end, Cleopatra became the living symbol of Egypt itself. A ruler who, though not born of its soil, captured its spirit and left a legacy that still fascinates the world today. Now let's talk about cats. These mysterious, graceful creatures have fascinated humans for thousands of years, but nowhere was their allure more powerful than in ancient Egypt. Walk through any Egyptian exhibit and you'll see cats everywhere. Statues, mummies, jewelry, their images are carved into temple walls, painted on tombs, and even worn as amulets for protection and luck. The myth goes that Egyptians worshipped cats as gods, elevating them above all other animals, but the truth is more nuanced. While cats were deeply respected, their status was more complex than simple worship. Cats were revered as earthly manifestations of the goddess Bastet, protector of home and family. Bastet herself was a symbol of fertility, motherhood, and joy, and her feline form made cats sacred by association. Their value was practical too. Cats protected grain stores from rodents and homes from snakes. In a land where food security was everything, this made them indispensable companions. Killing a cat was a serious crime, reflecting their importance. Some records even suggest that harming a cat, even by accident, could lead to severe punishment. Mummified cats were common, but these were offerings to Bastet, not because the animals themselves were gods. People believed that by offering a cat, they could gain the goddess's favor or protection. People would buy mummified cats as votive offerings. Much like lighting a candle in a church today, it was a way to communicate with the divine and ask for blessings. This practice created a vast industry, with millions of mummified cats found at sites like Bubastis. Temples even raised cats specifically for this purpose, showing just how widespread the tradition became. Egyptians didn't worship their house cats, but saw them as sacred protectors and symbols of divine favor. Cats were beloved family members, often depicted sitting beneath their owners' chairs in art. The relationship was one of mutual benefit, a sacred partnership, not simple worship. Cats kept homes safe, and in return they were cherished and protected by their human families. So, next time you see a cat, remember, in ancient Egypt it was a cherished guardian, a symbol of luck and protection, not a deity to be worshipped, but a treasured companion in daily life. Let's enter the realm of the supernatural, the curse of the pharaohs. The idea of vengeful mummies and deadly curses is pure Hollywood. The myth exploded after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, when Lord Carnarvon died soon after. Newspapers claimed a curse inscription was found, but none existed. In reality, only 8 of the 58 people present at the tomb's opening died within 12 years. Most, including Howard Carter, lived long lives. The mortality rate was no higher than average. The curse was a media invention, fueled by fascination with the occult and the exotic. Some tombs had warnings, but nothing supernatural, just threats of divine disfavor or earthly justice. There is a scientific explanation. Ancient tombs can harbor dangerous molds and bacteria, posing health risks to those with weak immune systems. The real story is about our love of mystery and fear of the unknown, not ancient magic. The true treasure of Tutankhamun's tomb was knowledge, not a curse. Our final myth, hieroglyphs, are just pictures, a simple primitive script. In reality, hieroglyphs are a sophisticated writing system, blending art and language. Some signs represent objects, but many stand for sounds or entire words. The breakthrough came with the Rosetta Stone, which allowed scholars to decode the script. Jean-François Champollion realized hieroglyphs combined logograms, whole words, phonograms, sounds, and determinatives, meaning clarifiers. For example, a viper sign means the sound F, not snake. Hieroglyphs could spell out words phonetically, then add a picture to clarify meaning. This system was flexible and powerful, used for over 3,500 years. It recorded everything from grand events to daily life, poetry to science. To call it just pictures is to miss the genius of Egyptian civilization. When you see hieroglyphs, see a living language, a window into a magnificent past. There you have it, 5 myths about ancient Egypt, debunked and set straight. We've journeyed through time together, guided by evidence, not assumption or legend. The story of Egypt is far more fascinating and complex than the myths suggest. History is an unfolding papyrus, always revealing more secrets with every new discovery. What other myths have you heard about Egypt? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this voyage to the world of the pharaohs and ancient wonders. My name is Aid. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.